friends, it's Alejandra. Welcome to another Bite-Sized Book Chats. April is National Poetry Month, so today we are going to be talking about novels in verse for grades 3rd through 5th and then teenagers as well. So the first book that we're going to be talking about is The Crossover by Kwame Alexander. Kwame Alexander is a really well-known author, and his books have been really well received. So this book talks about a boy named Josh and his brother Jordan. They are fantastic basketball players. Their dad has kind of instilled it in them. They're very gifted, but Josh also has other ambitions. He doesn't just want to be a basketball player. He has, they call it rhythms and rhymes, and he enjoys poetry, and he enjoys making rhymes and finding other ways to express himself than just on the court. And that can be a little difficult for some people, especially when it's something that is not expected of them and is not necessarily wanted in their family. So this is kind of his story and his relationship with his twin brother and with his family in terms of accepting who he is and coming to terms with the other ways that he might want to express himself. And like I said, this novel is in verse, so if you take a look at it, the entire novel is just told in poems, which may be a little difficult if you are maybe curious about it or want to get to know poetry a little bit better but are a little nervous with approaching novels in verse. This might be a really good one to start with because it's actually fairly short. It is a different format, and it is a little harder to get used to it if it's not something that you particularly already enjoy. But it is very rewarding, and I think one of the more common misconceptions when it comes to novels in verse is that maybe you won't get as much out of it as you would with something more traditionally written, but that is not necessarily true. You get out of it whatever you want to get out of it, and that is kind of the beauty of poems, that there is that extra room to interpret it in the way that makes the most sense to you, and to find different meanings in the poems that maybe you can't find in something in a different format. And then you can see along with this one that the poem itself is not just a very strict format, it's free verse, so there's a lot of kind of writing it differently and capital letters and screaming, and he does a really good job of conveying emotion and conveying what he wants you to feel just by using the format of the poem instead of necessarily what you might find in another book. So I think this is a great book to start with if you're at all curious about it, but are maybe a little hesitant to start. This is a great one. Additionally, another author that we're going to talk about today, in this book in particular, is Ellen Hopkins. So this book is People Kill People. Ellen Hopkins is also a really well-known YA author. Almost all of her novels are in verse as well. Her novels, however, do deal with topics that are a little bit more difficult for some sensitive readers, so just keep that in mind. She's really well known for that, but her novels are also told in verse. And like I said, it can be difficult for somebody that's not used to the format, but they're not super long reads, even though this one is longer. Her other books are even longer than this, but they are fairly easy to get through if you just want to move quickly through the poems. People Kill People is specifically about teens and gun violence. So like I said, it might be a little bit more sensitive for other readers. And she does have a disclaimer at the front where she talks about her relationship with guns and her relationship with the Second Amendment and what she believes and what she feels and kind of where this book came from. So this book deals, like I said, with teens and gun violence and people dying, and young teens dying, which can be difficult, but is part of what we are experiencing at some times. So I think this is a great book to read if it's something that you are maybe interested in or want to learn more about. It is, like I said, a difficult topic, but I think she broaches it really, really well. And her poems do a great job of conveying what she wants you to feel. She also has some areas of the book where there is like slightly larger pieces of text, so it might be a good way to introduce yourself to the topic as well if you don't want to read a book that is maybe too intimidating in terms of the format. She does have other blocks of text as well, so that might be a great book to start with too. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for joining us today. Happy National Poetry Month. Bye.